Teraphim is an exhibition that looks at the importance and emotional power of the physical artwork. At a time when the digital realm is teeming with possibilities for intangible art, Teraphim explores what is special about the physical artwork that has made it endure over millennia through the work of two contemporary artists, Iain and Carlos Zapata. Iain Andrews is a painter based in Manchester who explores how the established narratives of art history relate to the chaos of lived experience. Iain works as an art psychotherapist with young people and uses his painting to explore the often troubled stories he encounters. His paintings are richly textured, emphasising the physical nature of paint, a tangible material that nonetheless acts as a medium for thoughts and emotions. Many of his works reference fairy tales and old masters' paintings, into which he embeds gestural, chaotic, and sometimes cartoonish mark-making. Scenes such as this hint at pastoral landscapes from the 18th century, or classical scenes invaded by bursts of abstract expressionism. The first impression may be chaotic, but after a moment of calm, a sense of order starts to emerge. The foot of a running figure, arms reaching to grasp an object unknown, while a bird hovers above. A portrait, subsumed in the mayhem. In this approach, Iain's historical references serve as a containing structure into which the turbulent reality of imperfect and fractured lives can find material expression. Iain thereby focuses on one of the key functions of art, to help us make sense of the chaos of our own experiences, through reference to shared, common cultural models. A series of larger paintings here, The Prophets, make particular reference to Joseph Stabinoga, a homeless man from the streets of Wolverhampton where Iain grew up. In contrast to his other works, where the image seems to dissolve amongst the marks, in the Prophet paintings, the figure emerges from the physical mess of the paint, as if being brought into life like a golem. As a type, the vagabond lives out the separation from material things in a similar way to the visionaries from the Bible. But Iain's works suggest how the physical world, represented by the paint, is still essential to his existence. Through these intense paintings, Iain explores how reality and fiction blend in the imagination. He contrasts idealised narratives with imperfect reality, to suggest how art can help find a balance somewhere in between. Carlos Zapata's sculptures echo devotional objects as a means of addressing challenging contemporary themes. Originally from Colombia, his works are rooted in the complex issues of his native country, in particular the social conflict that is the legacy of colonialism, and an identity shaped by European culture, grafted onto a subjugated host. Many of his sculptures are reminiscent of Catholic icons and sculpture, objects instrumental in the implantation of European culture into the Americas. But Carlos's work also simmers with a raw, elemental quality, as if to emphasise how religious narratives are only one possible articulation for fundamental human experience. In this work, a torso, echoing an arrow-riddled Saint Sebastian, suggests gunshot wounds in an allusion to the violence that has plagued Colombia for decades. Note his delicate use of paint to suggest how the body has been bruised. This haunting carved head and shoulders, with a coin in its mouth, references Charon's obol, the payment to the ferryman to take the dead across the river Styx in Greek myth, although here he is depicted like a figure from a religious procession. A Mary Magdalene, with waist-long hair, echoes the Western tradition in sculpture, but with hints of gold underneath, suggesting the cultural syncretism that is so particular to South and Central America, where indigenous cultures and their stories find expression through European religious imagery. Accompanying busts are rough-hewn, burnt or scratched. This work, Stilly, sees a head almost struggling to survive the decay and disintegration. This piece, Ascension, appears like a processional saint, stripped of their regalia, and left naked to the elements. In this stylised skull, knots in the wood and chisel marks are still clearly visible as marks of its past. Their patina suggests a life lived through conflict, but Carlos's work is distinguished by the gentle empathy with which he addresses his subjects. His use of wood is important. It emphasises the shared organic nature of both his materials and his subjects, and in doing so lends his work an emotional candour that brings tenderness and humanity to his often difficult themes.